Welcome to the first year 7 theory video. During the course of this year you'll be taking 3 different tests, one each term. The content that we'll be looking at are the components of fitness in term 1, the methods of training in term 2 and the long and short term effects of exercise in term 3.
Here you can see the 11 different components of fitness. These components can be altered through various methods to improve your overall fitness. They are important to sports people, although different sports may require higher levels for particular components. For example, a 100-meter runner would need high levels of speed, but may not necessarily need as high levels of cardiovascular endurance.
For the exam, you need to know the definitions for each component of fitness and to be able to apply them to sporting examples. Please feel free to pause the video during this section to make notes. It is really important to be able to give sporting examples of how each component can be used effectively during a sporting performance. For example, in the exam, you may be asked the definition of strength, for which the answer would be the amount of force a muscle can exert against a resistance. You may also be asked how a rugby player would use strength when playing the sport, to which you would answer, pushing with all one's force in a rugby scrum against the resistance of the opposition pack. For better practice, see if you can apply these components of fitness to different sports. For example, flexibility would be needed when in hurdling, because you would need the mobility at the hip to get a straight front leg over the hurdle. This is an alternative example to the one given in the PowerPoint, which focuses on gymnastics.
These are the remainder of the components of fitness, their definitions and examples. Please feel free to pause the video again to write down the definitions and sporting examples. You also need to know different areas in which components may be used. In football, an attacker might use agility to change direction and speed to dribble past the defender. So please make sure you've got a range of different examples of each component of fitness.
For each component of fitness, there is a specific test which measures how effective an individual is within that area. You need to know the tests for each component of fitness for the exam. On the next slide, we'll give you some more information about how the tests are conducted. In the top left, we have the sit and reach test, which measures flexibility. The individual must maintain straight legs and reach far forward as possible to gain a measurement.
On the right of this, we have the hand grip dynamometer. This measures strength as the participant squeezes the handle with maximum force to give a reading on the dial.
In the top right hand corner, we have the 12-minute Cooper run. This measures cardiovascular endurance. The athlete runs for 12 minutes and the distance covered during this time is the overall score for the test.
Underneath the sit and reach test, we have the Illinois agility test. This measures agility and requires the athlete to run in the direction of the arrow shown, which is normally around cones. This test measures speed whilst changing direction from the start to the finish line.
Next to this, we have the alternate hand wall toss test. This measures coordination and involves the performer standing 2 meters away from the wall, throwing the ball with one hand and catching it with the other. This is repeated over the course of 60 seconds and the amount of successful catches is the score recorded.
Next is the standing stalk test, which measures balance. The performer needs to maintain the demonstrated position with their foot against the opposite knee and hands on hips. They need to stand on their tiptoes. The time is stopped when the performer touches the ground with the heel of either foot.
To the right of that, we have the ruler drop test, which measures reaction time. The partner will hold a ruler with the performer ready to catch it with their thumb and finger at 0 centimeters. The ruler is then dropped by their partner at random and the score is measured from the point on where it is caught.
In the bottom left, we have the vertical jump test measuring power. The individual measures their height in centimeters and then proceeds to jump as high as possible, touching the wall. The difference in height from standing to jumping is the total score.
To the right of that, we have the 60-second press-up test, which measures muscular endurance. This can also be done as a sit-up test. The performer has to do as many press-ups in 60 seconds, and the total is a score for muscle endurance.
Finally, in the bottom right, we have the 30-metre sprint test measuring speed. The performer sprints as quickly as possible over 30 metres, and the time recorded is the overall score. The performer has a running start, which means that they should already be sprinting when they pass the start line.
So that's the end of the first topic. Remember to revise for the test, and you may need to come back and watch this video again for the test in Term 2 and in Term 3. There is also a link provided for you to revise further, which gives you a link straight to BBC Bitesize for more information. Specifically, you need to know the 11 components of fitness, the definitions for each component, the sporting examples for each component, and the fitness test for each component.